Hey guys, it's Dan, and it is time for another book review. Now, I'm here to review Alex North's Whisper Man, which is his debut novel. And this is the one that I'll have to admit, I was super jealous of all the people that were reading this at the time it debuted because it was like really, really overly hyped, I have to say. I finally got around to reading this, and I have to admit, I kind of expected more out of this book than The Shadows, because I read The Shadows before reading this, and I really, really enjoyed The Shadows. So I kind of think I had very high expectations when it came to going into The Whisper Man. They're both crime novel thrillers, and like I said, I had very high expectations of The Whisper Man just because it was so overly hyped. I mean, I gotta say, a good portion of my friends on Goodreads gave that book like a 4 or 5 star rating. So when I actually got into it, I was like, I don't understand what the big deal is with this book. Let's get into it. The Whisper Man, for those who don't know, is a crime thriller, and it has to do with this serial child killer called the Whisper Man, who would hang out outside a kid's bedroom windows and whisper to them and try to coerce them into going with them. He'd kidnap the child, and then after a while he would murder them. Later on, I think it's like 20 years later, there's a copycat killer going on, and it's like they're trying to figure out what's going on. Did this guy have an accomplice back in the day, and that's who's doing the killings now? But I feel like the focus of the story was not really on the crime aspect, the main title of the story. It seemed to me to focus on father-son relationships. That's what I got the majority of the story was about. And I got this because we had the main character of Tom Kennedy and his son Jake. And then we have Carter, who is the Whisper Man. And then they talk about the bad relationship he had with his son. And it was kind of like a duality of father-son relationship kind of things. And it seemed like most of the story had to do with father-son relationships. And then later we find out about Tom Kennedy's own relationship with his dad. And I won't spoil it because there's something that happens in the book that leads more into that aspect. But I felt like the story leaned more towards that kind of relationship than being a crime thriller. When it came to being a crime thriller, I felt like it was really lacking. Like I said, most of the story focused on that drama of this relationship between Tom Kennedy and the troubles of being a widower and his son coping with not having his mother. And it felt like it was too much drama and not enough crime going on. So that's why I decided to give this a 3 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. I felt like it was not as strong with the crime element as The Shadows. It was good, don't get me wrong, it was enjoyable, I did enjoy reading it, but like I said, I had very high expectations for it. I think I expected a little more out of this book, just because everybody had overly hyped this book, and I'm kind of wondering, I don't know what these people were thinking when they gave this book such a high rating. I often wonder if sometimes people give books high ratings just because they see other people do it, and they feel the need to kind of follow suit and do the same just because everybody else said this was a great book. I gotta say the same thing. But to be honest with you guys, I figured this was a pretty average read. Like I said, it was kind of weak when it came to the crime thriller elements. It was mainly, if you're interested in that kind of thing, it was interesting in the regards of the whole father-son relationship thing and the kind of the duality of what a good relationship is like and what a bad relationship is like. And that was like the most interesting aspect of the book. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to say you have to go out and read this, but if you had prior wanted to read it, I'd say give yourself a go at it. If you weren't ever interested in it, I could say you could live without reading this book. For those of you in the U.S., I will have a link to Amazon for you to check this out. For those international folks, I will have a bookshop.org link. I'm also going to throw down my coffee link if you don't mind donating $1 or $2 to help support my channel. That's all I got for you guys. There's not really too much more I could say about this book. Like I said, it was not what I anticipated. It was not as good as his second novel, The Shadows, which is a much better book. And I did do a review of that if you go into my playlist. And you can find that in my book reviews. It's pretty recent because I read it not too long ago. But it is, that one I feel is a better crime thriller than this one. This one was just average. And yeah. That's all I got for you guys. This has been Dan. And until next time, stay healthy and be good to each other.